What's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR bringing you another, well, actually not really another, but a particularly massive episode of the People's Questions, episode 156, which apparently is the cause of what happened last week when we only had a very small number of questions, which seems to be the status quo of how these Q&A episodes usually work. If one episode usually doesn't have a lot of questions, next week I usually get slammed with them, and this episode is no different. So I would just like to thank the lot of you for sending in a very, very large number of questions, and I believe there's actually a few of you that are actually new to this whole People's Questions thing, so this is actually going to be your first episode bringing in questions of your own, so I would like to welcome you. So jumping right into the first 5 questions coming from a regular of mine going by the name of Deafening Giraffes, and you want to know, do I watch any gaming related YouTube channels? Yes, of course I do. My 3 favorite YouTube channels of all time are all gaming related. So yeah, I do. Next question is, what are my favorite movie related YouTube channels? I don't know, let's see, movie related. AMC Movie Talk, that's always a good one. Yeah, that's really all I can think of off the top of my head right now. I mean, there's a couple other ones, like a couple of smaller YouTube channels, but their names are escaping me right now. Next is, have I ever been to any musical festivals, and if so, what were they? No. There's actually been a couple of music festivals I've actually wanted to go to. They're more likely they're actually the festivals where, well, I'm not sure if they're festivals or you consider them being concerts, where they actually play music from specific video games. We usually have those here in Vegas a couple times, and I've always wanted to go, but I just kind of hate going to these big occasions by myself, so I usually end up not going. The next question is, have I seen the first Hellraiser movie, and if so, what are my thoughts on it? Yes, I've seen the first Hellraiser film. I don't think it's as good as the second one, but I mean, as a classic horror movie and being the first real appearance of Pinhead, I think it's okay. I just don't like how Pinhead really doesn't show up to the third act. And I don't know. I mean, as iconic as Pinhead really is, he really isn't given as much screen time as we would like him to have, as he will eventually have in the next 2 sequels, I believe, in 2 and 3, because after that I think the Hellraiser movies just got a little bit too crazy for my taste. Next question is, I know you're not a fan of the Fallout games, but do I think that Bethesda will announce Fallout 4 at E3 this year, since they generally aren't there and Fallout 3 was announced at E3 2008? Fallout 4. Well, you're right, I'm not a big fan of Fallout, but if they were going to announce a Fallout game, I think at this point it would be really, really hard to keep it a secret. I think someone would have hinted at it by now. So, could they announce it at this year's E3? It's possible. It's very unlikely because it's really, really hard to keep big announcements like that very, very quiet without rumors of it being announced. So, unless there's a lot of rumors about a Fallout 4 being announced, I think it's very unlikely that we will hear anything from it this year. Next 2 questions come from Draven G, and you want to know, what do I think would be a good choice? Who do I think would be a good choice to play Spider-Man? You know, I'm terrible at these. I cannot do actor choice character questions because I'm not an acting caster, so I don't really care who they cast as Spider-Man. I really don't care. Next question is, do I think superhero movies will start moving away from the origin stories altogether? Yes, because most people that go to see these movies don't give a shit about the characters' origins. They just want to see them take part in some epic CGI smash fest on the screen. That's really all people go see these movies for. I mean, that's really all I'm going to go see Avengers for. I mean, I pretty much know what's going to happen in the film, so, you know, it kind of takes a lot of the enjoyment out. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with wanting to change certain things in origin stories, but do people really care about Batman's origins even though we've heard it 100 times? I mean, who doesn't know the origins of some of these characters? And if you don't know, well, then I guess this character just isn't important enough for you to care. Next 5 questions come from the Father Monster Show, and you want to know, what are my plans for my 4,000 subscriber special? You know, man, it's been too long for me to do that. I mean, I'm already close to hitting that first 100 going into 4,000, so I think at this point it's just a little too late to be thinking about doing a 4,000 subscriber special. I didn't really have any good ideas of what I could do when I eventually hit 4,000, so the best thing I could do is maybe spend the time I have now trying to figure out what to do if we can hit 5,000 or 6,000 or 7,000, or heck, if I'm lucky enough by the end of this year, maybe 8,000. Next question is, what game would I rather want to destroy more, Final Fantasy 13 or Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zero? Okay, well, it's obviously going to be Final Fantasy 13 because I do not hate Ground Zero. For one, I still haven't opened it. I haven't played it. And I don't hate it. I just don't like the idea of paying $40 for a demo. That's really it. I mean, this is like one of those things that, you know, it was a stupid choice to make. You know you shouldn't have done it, but you're going to do it once in your life, so you never do it again. That doesn't mean I hate it. Your next question is, would I consider trying to replay Alien Isolation? No. Tried it. Just couldn't really get into it. I know that a lot of people are really liking it, and I've even heard that it's sold very, very well, so there's a good chance that they might make an Alien Isolation 2, but for the type of gamer that I am, and just my personal preference on the Alien franchise, I've said this many, many times, I am openly not a fan of Ridley Scott's Alien. I openly do not like that film, but I am a big fan of James Cameron's Aliens. In fact, everyone in my family is, and so if you can make something that's more like that, which unfortunately Alien Colonial Marines was trying to go for but failed at, if you could give that another go but do it properly, that's the Alien game I would like to play. Next question is, what is my favorite Angry Joe review? Oh, undoubtedly, it's his Mind Jack review. I mean, the one thing about Angry Joe is he has a review style that I don't think anyone can actually do. And I would never even attempt to try to do what he does. I mean, I like to keep my reviews very short and just objective, but he actually likes to be very objective and add a lot of comedy into his reviews. And I think he showed that his skills to the max in his Mind Jack review. Be sure to check out that review if you haven't seen it yourself. And your last question is, what is the one game I cannot live without? Alright, sorry, you guys can't already tell I'm a little sick. What is the one game I couldn't live without? Or if there is one game you can keep in your collectors, what would it be? I guess Metal Gear Solid 3. I mean, that game's just too important to me, I guess. Sorry again, I'm still kind of sick. The next question comes from a newbie going by the name of Corey Rolfe. Hope I said that right. I'm really bad with names. And he wants to know, am I planning on doing a versus series matchup between the 3 main protagonists of the BioShock franchise? Well, Corey, that would be a bit of a challenge because we really don't know all that much about them, except for what we know about them in the games. And I guess in terms of weapons, their weapons collection is rather expansive. And in terms of their plasmids, pretty expensive too. I just don't really know how their battle tactics would work, and that's something I kind of need to know, is how they're going to approach this fight, especially since all of their tactics and how their approaches to all their combat scenarios are based on how we control them. And so a lot of what they do and how they will approach things are based on our choices, and so I don't really have enough of their own qualities in order to make a versus series matchup between these 3 characters, simply because personality-wise, we don't know them very well. We just know them through us, and that's a little hard to do. Next 5 questions come from Kobe Time, and you want to know, did I get Evolve? And if so, what did I think about it? No, I did not get Evolve, nor do I plan on getting it. Next question is, am I getting Dying Light? No, I don't feel like playing a parkour version of Dead Island, and I'm getting a little tired of zombie games, so no, I didn't get it. Next question is, what are my thoughts on the whole Gamergate, Anita, what's-her-name situation? I don't really want to talk about this. This is one of those situations that unless you're actively into this, you can't really... Look, what happened was very disrespectful, and it made the whole industry in that department look very, very bad. And I just think that after everything that's been said and done, I think it's time we look past this. I mean, sure, the industry is always going to get in trouble with stuff like this, depending on, violence in video games or stuff like that. But it's done, it's happened. The trick is we learn from our mistakes, we move past it, and we don't judge the whole industry on people like this. We are not all cheapskates that are willing to pull off dirty deeds to get what we want. Gamers are good people, and people who journalize on gamers are good people. I know this for a fact, so let's move past this. Next question is, what shows am I watching right now? I am currently watching The Flash, Arrow, South Park, maybe some History Channel shows. That's about it, really, right now. Oh, wait, I'm watching Blacklist, and... yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's about it as of right now. Next question is, are there any conventions besides SkillCom in your area I'm planning on going to? There's actually a convention coming out later in October that I may be going to. I'll need an update from one of my friends. But let's just say that if I actually pull off this convention, it will be probably the biggest, probably hardest convention I ever go to, because if I'm going to make this very large trip to go to this particular convention, then I will definitely be pulling off 3 cosplays of my own. But I'm going to keep that as a secret as for right now. The next question comes from a newbie going by the name of, and I'm sorry again, I'm really bad with names, I'm sorry, I'll just put your name right here. I'm really bad with names, my voice is giving out again. And you want to know, do I think Jurassic World is going to be any good? I think it's going to be better than the 3rd film. The whole concept of this movie, it sounds a little bit just crazy. I mean, you're going to genetically engineer a dinosaur by mixing a couple of dinosaurs. This just sounds like the kind of plot that you would expect to see in those really, really cheap and badly made sci-fi channel movies, where these people think they want to do something unique and it turns on them and they get a lot of people killed, and it's just stupid. I mean, I think the whole idea of Chris Pratt's character training raptors and he's going to team up with a team of raptors in order to take this thing down, I mean, on paper that sounds like a fun idea, but really, trained raptors? I mean, next thing you know, he'll be training T-Rexes, and, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to pull that one off. But I think it'll be a fun movie to watch. The next question comes from another newbie going by the name of Jaybird, and he wants to know, do I like MoBa Games? No. No, I don't. I don't really want to talk about it, but I'm just not interested in those type of games. The next question is, do I prefer games that are more teamwork based or more individual? Definitely love teamwork. I'm not a big competitive gamer myself, but if I had to get competitive, I would feel more comfortable building a team and taking on another team. I think adding a teamwork element makes the idea of victory or winning a little bit more just rewarding than doing something on your own. Next 4 questions come from JDS 4696. You want to know, do I think the Order 1886 will be a long game? There's been a lot of controversy going on around how long this game is, and since this is coming out on Friday, chances are I will be playing it by the time you or a lot of you guys actually see this video. So, I've heard it's 5. Some people have said it's 5 hours. Some people said it's 7 hours. I'm hoping to get at least maybe 7-8 hours out of it, because I will be playing it multiple times, because I am going to platinum this game. So I think that first run through, I think it'll be a good enough length for a third-person new IP for this next generation or this current generation of gaming. So I think it will live up to the hype. Next question is, when do I think Grand Theft Auto 5 will get a price drop from the PlayStation 4? I don't think it needs a price drop. I mean, I think anyone who wants to play Grand Theft Auto 5, if you haven't played it by now, chances are you're not going to play it. So I don't think it needs a price drop. Next question is, do I think Nintendo will ever cross over any of their games to other consoles like Sega did? No, I don't. I mean, as much as I would love to play a Mario game or a Zelda game on my PlayStation 4 or 3, I think Nintendo is pretty... I think they have a deft grip on their franchises. I think the only time that's ever gonna... a possibility of having these characters come on other consoles is if they're in if they get in real financial trouble to the point where they cannot afford to make another console, and in order to keep their licenses to their characters, they have to allow other consoles to play them. And I think that day is very, very rare to ever come. And your last question is, would I prefer getting the full Resident Evil Revelations 2 disc or just get them weekly? No, I'm not doing this whole weekly thing. I'll just wait till it comes out, just buy it, and just play it all together. I don't really like this whole thing of having to wait week after week after week to play each episode. I like just playing it all in one run through. That's just how I am. And now the man of the hour, Mr. Tequilico Man. Shout out to you because you brought in the question of the episode, which is why I'm sure you can tell I kind of had to really kind of reword one of your questions or the question of the episode because I think it's going to bring on the wrong message. But going into your 4 questions, you want to know, what are my thoughts on Jon Stewart exiting The Daily Show? I don't really care about him exiting The Daily Show because I don't watch The Daily Show, so I don't really care. Next question is, what are my thoughts on Spider-Man now being intertwined with the Marvel Universe? Well, Marvel fanboys have wanted to get Spider-Man into their universe, and they're going to do it. So, there you go. You got Spider-Man. They want to, I know a lot of people really want to get X-Men and Fantastic Four back into the Marvel EU, and I don't think that's ever going to happen. Fox has a deft grip on X-Men, especially with the success of Days of Future Past, and now that they're doing Apocalypse, I think it's fair to say that Fox will never lose the rights to X-Men. Fantastic Four, on the other hand, I think that even if that fails, they'll try to pull off something to make sure they keep a grip on that franchise. But in terms of going back to Spider-Man, you know, good for you. Sony didn't really do a very good job with it with this last 2 films, so it's best to give it off to someone who will hopefully treat it better. Next question is, would I like to get a motorcycle? Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, I don't think I would practice driving a motorcycle in Vegas. I think I would want to do it in an area that has more, you know, open country. That way it kind of, you know, decreases the chance of actually getting hit by a car or actually being killed on a motorcycle. And now comes the question of the episode, which I have to give you, Tequilico Man. I really didn't think anyone would have the balls to ask me this question, but here we go. You want to know, what are my sexual fantasies? Gotta admit, a lot of people I've known over the course of my life, not even they have the guts to ask me that question. But to be honest, I don't want to do the whole 2 girls and 1 guy thing. I know friends that have actually tried that, and the way they've explained it, it's kind of it kind of accidentally happened to them. I personally just don't think I could pull something like that off. But I think the most it would ever go would be, I would just ask my girlfriend to maybe cosplay as a couple characters, and that's something I think you could easily plan around a convention or around Halloween. I think that's as far as my sexual fantasies would ever go. And I think that's all I need to say to really explain how deep they actually go. And with that, those are all the questions you guys sent for this particular episode. I hope you guys didn't get too bored from this really long episode of People's Questions, episode 156. I'm sorry if my voice was giving out because I am still a little bit sick. If you guys have any questions you'd like me to answer in the next episode of the People's Questions, be sure to type them in the comments down below. And make sure to get them into me before next Wednesday when I start filming this episode. And if you like this episode, feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe. Check me on my future episodes, people's questions every Friday. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next time.